What's up, all my producers out there, or should I say, potential producers? Because in this video, I'm going to answer a very popular question, and that is, should I get a music production degree online? Now, online degrees have blown up, no surprise to anybody, and there's tons of options all around not only this country in the United States, but around the world to get online degrees in pretty much any field you can think of. And especially with music production blowing up, a lot of people are like, hey, I want to become a music producer, I want to learn how to produce, but I'm not able to travel to LA or to Vegas or to someplace that music production schools are really popular and well known. So the alternative, or the easiest option, is to get an online degree. But the question comes up, should I get that degree or should I not get that degree? So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that you really have to consider. Now, one thing I want to say before I get into these 5 things is that if, let's say, money's not an issue for you, I would say in general, yes. Saying right in the beginning of this video, I think a music production degree online is worth it. There's a lot of benefits obviously to doing it because you're able to basically have a coach or like a teacher, you're able to have your music reviewed, so on and so forth. But I figure for 99.9% of this people, you're trying to do that kind of cost benefit analysis and this basic ROI analysis of, okay, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to spend all this money to get a degree, but it's going to be completely online? So let's jump into those 5 things. Number 1, do you actually need the degree? Now, I want to start here because in case you didn't know, I used to be an accountant. And when I was an accountant and I got my accounting degree, a lot of the accounting firms I worked at said, look, unless you have an accredited accounting degree, you can't work here. Like, you actually need the degree. If you want to do marketing though, like say on the other side of business, if you want to do marketing, for example, you actually don't really need a degree or a marketing degree or even a business degree for most marketing jobs because they're like, hey, we want to know, can you put up numbers? Can you be good at talking to people? Can you network well? So on and so forth. And I want to start here because especially with music production, it's always about your portfolio. For example, if you have one person that has made and produced incredible records, and let's say they've interned in a studio for free, and then you have another person that hasn't really had that much portfolio work, they have some tracks, but not that many, they've never worked in a studio, yet they have that degree, but this person doesn't, this person will always be hired. Because yeah, maybe they don't have a degree or a piece of paper that say they graduated from some online music production school, but guess what? They have an amazing portfolio. They have time in the studio. So I want to start here because I think some people think like, oh, it'd be great to have a degree so I can show people, hey, I can produce music. But being honest, you're way better off, going on YouTube and learning a lot of stuff online. Especially, I think when it comes to music production, a lot of the ways you're going to learn online and an online school are going to be very comparable to watching YouTube videos and doing it on your own, right? It's not like you're trying to learn like physical therapy. With physical therapy, it would be very tough to learn strictly online or on your own because you kind of have to be in person. You need to be kind of, doing the movements and everything that comes with physical therapy. But with learning music production, you can easily do it on your own, online, via YouTube, right? Watching videos for free, save that money. Maybe see if there's like a studio near you that you can say, hey, I want to intern at the studio. I'll do it for free. I'll be the coffee runner. Or I'll be like the cliche intern doing all the kind of grunt work. But you get to be behind the scenes, seeing how things actually happen in a studio, and you get to learn music production completely for free. Number 2, what is your studio setup like? Now, this is a big thing a lot of people don't consider. If you go to attend a music production school in person, I'll take Icon Collective. Icon Collective right now, and I have no affiliation with them, here in LA or in Los Angeles, honestly, it's like the best school for DJs and for electronic music producers. It really is. Again, I have no affiliation with them. And I know when kind of researching them, just out of curiosity, they actually have studios there that you can work at, that you can produce at, right? So if you don't have a studio setup, if you don't have the money for speakers and a whole setup to produce music at, no big deal, because you can do that in person. But when it comes to an online music production school, your studio is a massive thing to think about. If you only have a laptop and some cheap headphones, that's gonna be a huge hindrance to really try to consider. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't need to have like a mind-blowing studio, but you do need something to be able to work with. And this is a big thing to consider, that a lot of people don't really think about. I mean, think about it. If you're putting in, I'm just gonna make it, let's say 15 or 20K for an online music production degree, right, in 1 year, you might be better off not even paying for it because if you don't have the studio to basically work with, maybe save that money, take maybe $1,500, invest that in a studio, use it for a little bit, and then maybe consider the degree a little bit later down the line, right? I think you're way better off having a decent studio to start with and then focusing on the degree than the other way around. Number 3, networking. Now, this is a big thing so many people overlook when it comes to not only just, I think, a music production degree online, but any actual field. Now, taking a side on when I talk about business, right, because also that's something I have a lot of experience in addition to music, is when most people want to get an MBA, basically a graduate degree in business, a lot of people look at Harvard, Yale, MIT, and a lot of people think, well, that's because you're the best, right? You're going to learn the most. But the truth is, you're going to learn about the same thing you might learn at MIT or Yale or Harvard than you're going to learn at a mid-tier level school. Yeah, you might learn maybe a little bit more, but most likely not. The biggest thing is that you're going to be able to network with all the people in those classes. And if you think about it, if you're going to Harvard or Yale or MIT, you're probably going to be starting your own company. You're probably going to be doing something big in business. Same thing with music production schools. A lot of people want to go to music production schools. I'll just pick Icon Collective again, just as an example, because you can network. Their alumni is ridiculous. The connections that school has is insane. And being honest, when it comes to doing it online, what I'd ask yourself is maybe even talk to the school, say, is there any networking opportunities? Are there basically online things you can do, maybe online Zoom conferences that you can meet other producers? Are there events that they're going to have in person that, yeah, maybe you're doing it online, but you can still attend those events in person? You know, I remember when I was going to school for accounting, I was able to network and get jobs in accounting because when I leave class, I'd be there in person. There'd be a bunch of kiosks with different businesses set up and different companies saying, hey, we're looking to hire people. I would network efficiently, and that's where I got jobs. Same thing in music production. You really want to focus on networking because it's super important. Because as we all know, it's all about who you know, not what you know. And yeah, don't get me wrong, making good music and making good tracks always comes first. There's no question there. That's always going to come first. But when you listen to and you read about all these musicians who have made it in their field, the number one thing they all say is they happen to bump into somebody. They met somebody, they had a demo on them because they networked efficiently to get to that spot. You know, they were at a music production school and in person they were able to interact with somebody. Or like say a musician came and they gave a talk about what their life was like, almost like a mini TED talk at the school. And afterwards they would able to meet them, hand them a demo, you know, something along those lines. Always, always, always ask them, what are the networking opportunities available and what do you have for people to basically connect with other artists, not only who are maybe in the school, but who have graduated or basically doing amazing things in music. Number 4, do you have self-discipline? Now, when it comes to going to school in person, as you can imagine, it's a lot easier, right? You have to get there at 1 p.m. You have to sit in class. Everyone else is with you, right? You have a bunch of people in the same classroom. You're watching somebody. They're basically lecturing you. If you slack off or if you're on your phone or if you're on Facebook, the teacher might notice and they might say, hey, what are you doing, right? When you're doing it online, you're by yourself. You're on your own accord. And if you're going to spend that 15 or 20K in a year, however much it costs, every school is a little bit different, to get that online music production degree, but yet you're not putting in the time to watch the videos and the classes, you're not spending that time making the music, I would consider maybe something else, or maybe consider spending that extra money to go to music production school in person. Now, obviously, this isn't just for music production degrees online, but pretty much any online degree, right? Any online degree, you really need to have kind of that focus, some good strategies. You need to form good habits, you know, to make sure you're actually getting everything done. You're working on your own music, because if you're going to slack off, and if you're going to kind of slack off in classes and get further behind, you're probably better off not getting the degree and just learning from YouTube. And then if you happen to get lazy for a couple days, no big deal, because you're not spending that 15 or 20K, right? So keep in mind that when you do an online degree, you have to have, I think, a lot more self-focus and self-motivation and self-discipline to get everything done, to work on your music, and to constantly be learning as much as you can. And last, but definitely not least, number 5 is, are there any extra incentives? I want to finish off here because if you think about it, especially with music production and learning music, so no surprise to anybody, like I've said numerous times in this video, you can learn pretty much everything you're going to learn at music production school completely for free online. All those online courses that a music production school is going to offer, all free on YouTube. All the feedback that you're going to get on your tracks, you can 100% get on a forum for free. Now, yes, like I said in the beginning of this video, I think that the degree is easier, right? Because you have someone there coaching you the whole time. It's a lot more fast paced. You know, if you post it on a forum, you don't know maybe the level of competency or a production skill that person has, give you critiques. Obviously, everyone at the school, hopefully, you know, will be skilled enough to give you really good feedback and whatnot. But the biggest thing I'd say is, are there any extra incentives past that, right? Like, for example, I said with Icon Collective in person, you can use your studios. That's a great incentive. I know they have artists come giving talks. That's a great incentive past just learning music production and getting critiques on your tracks. There's a lot of networking, you know, with a lot of in-person schools. That's a huge thing, like I said earlier in this video. So what I'd ask yourself is, are there any things or any extra incentives that this school has besides just learning how to make music and getting feedback on your music? essentially almost the same thing. That's a big thing I would make sure to check out with every single school, because as you can imagine, when it comes to the online programs, there's going to be a lot less incentives on an online program than there's in an in-person program. With an in-person program, there's so much more that they're going to offer to you as extra incentives besides just learning how to make music. There's a lot that goes around with it. So I'd make sure to check with the school and say, hey, is there anything else that you're doing, that you're offering, that's going to happen besides just learning music? Because I understand that I can learn music for free via YouTube, and I can get a coach. Actually, you could probably hire a coach online somewhere for a lot cheaper than the degree, and they could coach you through music production. So is there anything else that the school is going to offer or give me as an extra incentive, or not actually an incentive per se? Is there anything else that happens besides just learning music that's going to help propel my music career? That's where I mentioned things like networking, the talks that a lot of schools give, studio time that can happen in person. That's such a massive benefit to an in-person school, right? And there's a lot of good incentives for that. I hope that was helpful. If you do have any comments or questions, feel free to post them, because I know this topic has gotten way more popular over the years as online degrees, and especially as music production has blown up, a lot of people want to learn. And I think with there being so much good free information online, it's become more of a question of should I get the degree or not, right? Especially when you look at the price point of a lot of these online degrees. Some of them are pretty ridiculous, right? So that's why I want to kind of give this video being very transparent that, look, there's a lot of good to getting an online degree. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, speeding up that learning curve. You get a nice coach that knows what they're doing. There's a ton of factual information. You might be able to network, but I'm not sure. So there's a lot of benefits. But on the other end, the cost and the fact that you can get pretty much a very similar experience online for free is something you really have to consider.